Most people with addiction say the same thing. I will stop tomorrow. Sometimes they say it to themselves, sometimes to the family, also to mirror hoping this time it will work. And in that moment, your feelings are honest. It feels like a relief, a way to get through the day without any guilt. Instead of judging, let's try to understand what's happening here, because understanding addiction changes how we respond to it in ourselves and in others. Addiction is a strong, compulsive urge to seek a substance or behavior and continuing it even when it causes harm. It is often misunderstood as a lack of control or willpower, but in reality, it's a chronic, relapsing brain condition. It's not just limited to drugs. There are two types: substance addiction, which involves drugs, behavioral addiction, like food, internet, gaming, mobile, etc. But ironically, brain pathways are very similar in both. Let us understand what happens in our brain. At the center of addiction is a chemical called dopamine. Dopamine is involved in reward, motivation, learning, and pleasure. Every substance with addictive potential increases dopamine in brain, either directly or indirectly. Brain areas involved mainly are ventral tegmental area, from where the dopamine is released. It acts mainly on another area called nucleus accumbens. This pathway helps the brain to learn reward, pleasure. The brain learns that this is important, do it again, it's pleasurable, it's fun. Different drugs work in different ways, but they all increase dopamine in this pathway. While other brain systems like opioid and cannabinoid systems are also involved, making these habits harder to break. But how addiction leads to emotional connect? Dopamine pathways also connect to the amygdala, which handles emotions, and hippocampus stores memories. Hence, addiction is not just about pleasure, it also creates emotions which become memorable and hence difficult to control or break. Eventually, these triggers can lead to relapse. Over time, the brain forms a strong association due to repeated signals. Addiction can also become linked to certain people, certain places, certain emotional states like feeling stressed, bored, lonely, or overwhelmed, which can trigger cravings. Even without the substance, these cues can push the brain to seek substance again. Addiction can start slowly over time in some people or very quickly in others. The starting point is different for everyone. Some substances and some people develop dependence very fast. Occasionally, something as routine as a prescription medicine for pain can start the cycle. Hence, the treatment focuses on why the use started, what's maintaining it, and how to stop the cycle safely. Now comes the concept of enabling. Means allowing a person to continue with their addictive behavior as well as preventing addicted individuals from experiencing the consequences of their own addiction. They are enablers. You pay the bill for your sibling who spends their money on alcohol. You think you're helping them, but the habit keeps growing. You clean the house after your partner comes home drunk. You hope it makes things easier, but it also lets the drinking pattern continue. You excuse your colleague when they miss the deadline due to substance use. You want to be understanding, but they never face the real impact of their actions. Finally, losing the control. At first, the same amount of substance is enough. One drink, one pill, one hit. Then it stops being pleasurable. Tolerance is when the body needs more of the same substance to feel pleasure, because the body has adapted. And then comes dependence as well as withdrawal. This is the stage where the body and mind start to expect the substance just to feel normal. Without it, there is lot of discomfort, restlessness, anxiety, shakiness, sleeplessness, and a sense that something is wrong. At this point, it is no longer about pleasure. They are taking the substance just to avoid pain. Tolerance and dependence are the signals. Signals that the body has crossed a line where willpower alone is no longer enough. This is the moment many people suffer, telling themselves they should handle it on their own, feeling ashamed for asking help. But this is exactly the stage where help works the best. There is help and it works. Taking help does not mean weakness or shame. It is available in the form of MET or motivational enhancement therapy, which is a non-judgmental approach where the conversations help people to find their own reasons to change. There are also medications when needed to reduce craving, to reduce the withdrawal symptoms, and to stabilize the body. And a good social support like Alcoholics Anonymous and people who start supporting and walk alongside the recovery. Addiction is not about bad choices or a weak character. It's about a brain that has learned a powerful pattern. When we understand it, blame reduces and conversations change. The responses become more helpful than hurtful. Understanding does not excuse addiction, but it does make recovery possible. And that's where real change begins. If you notice tolerance, if you notice dependence, they are signs to reach out. And help, real help, is always available by a psychiatrist for people to understand better. If you feel this content is useful, please share and subscribe.